it's working. I'm not actually sure because this is the first time that I've ever done something like this. But hi, everybody. My name is Rosie Black Rune. I stay in Caidan, or I live in Caidan. And hold on, I'm trying to not let my puppy get electrocuted. Bad dog. No. Okay. Sorry about that. I have a 7-week-old puppy who is still trying to figure out how to be a person. So while I record these, there's going to be lots of intermissions as I attempt to make sure my puppy doesn't electrocute himself, or do other things that puppies aren't supposed to do. Today, I am starting a new chapter. I used to record podcasts for a living. I worked for a publishing company, and I would interview my authors or other authors or friends of mine in different aspects and walks of life. And I always thought that doing it again sometime would be something interesting to do. And since now we're all here sort of stuck and trapped because there's a literal fucking plague going on, I think that why not do it now? It's better than it not happening at all, I guess. So welcome to my show. It's called Rosie Speaks. Today I have Lady Mattea Morelli, also out of Caidan, joining me as my guinea pig guest. Hi.
Hi, let's guinea this pig.
I'm stoked. Okay, so I am thrilled to have you on as my first guest. For many reasons, but namely my whole premise for this show is to show everybody that you don't have to be a peer to still participate in this online world. And while that may be a very broad and generalized statement that isn't inherently true in all aspects of this new virtual SEA world, a lot of these interactive podcasts and video type things I've noticed have been done by peers, and that might just be my exposure and my experience, but I wanted there to be something else out there. So having us two non-peers still showing the same sort of passion for this game that we did when it was normal, or normal in the before time.
That's what I've been calling it.
So what are your thoughts on this new virtual life?
Well, the way I see it is the SCA ultimately at the end of the day is a hobby. And even in the before times, I was a big proponent of you do as much of it as you can. Your real life comes first. And it'll always be there waiting when you're ready to come back. And right now, since we're in weird, I'm not going to say the overused phrase for it, since we're in weird times, like, people are trying to find ways to connect with other people and not go completely stir crazy, locked in their houses. And the fact that we're seeing as much engagement as we are with the SCA online, I think it's a really good sign. It's a sign of how strong we are as a community. But the fact that you brought up that a lot of the curated shows and the podcasts have been really peer heavy, and I really like your idea of giving another perspective. And I think it's really important to have, and I hope it encourages other people to, start putting their perspectives out there.
That's my whole premise, or my whole goal, is to show everybody, show those people who maybe aren't as outgoing or as involved as, say, I am, the opportunity and the inspiration to share their thoughts and their experiences, because everybody's experience matters. And right now, in times where we share rooms with howling puppies and crying babies and dads that dad around and do things.
And neighbors who never shut up.
And neighbors who never shut up. You have to figure out, you have to do something. I've never really been the type of person to sit around and do nothing. But I have just spent the past 10 weeks sitting around doing nothing. Before quarantine hit, I quit my real life job on purpose in hopes of starting a new career. And that was a really funny joke that I played on myself. Because now here we are doing something different, I guess.
And comedy's all about timing, right?
You know what? What's that phrase? Comedy always comes from a drama or a tragedy.
Comedy is tragedy plus time.
There you go. That's what it is. Hold on. My puppy's eating a couch. Hey, eat this. Don't eat that. That's not yours. That's not yours. That's yours. That's yours. There you go. Okay. So I think that, pardon my interjection of puppy proportions. Go away. Hey, chill. The fact that being stuck, literally, in this quarantine time has sort of pushed my knowledge or experience in the SEA completely aside. So your whole point is real world first. I spent the last 10 weeks doing real world first stuff. And I think I'm ready to come back to my hobby. And I couldn't be more excited to have you helping me get back in. One of my big questions, though, is I hear rumors, and actually know this to be a fact, that you're working on virtual Potrero.
I am.
What do you do for that? And what is it? Explain your experience.
Right. So I am assisting with the online moderator group for the event. Basically, we're going to be our virtual event constables, because we have a lot of people out in the wild trying to have a good time, but we want to make sure that everybody's able to have a good time. So we're setting up the groundwork to have rules and ways to report harassment and make sure everyone's having a safe, good time while we still get to enjoy some of the things that we like about one of my favorite events. And the entire planning process has been it's been a learning experience. We had to hit the ground running. We're doing a month-long turnaround. Like, we started planning the virtual event at the beginning of May. It's going to be next weekend. And so we're learning that a lot of our tried and true SCA planning kind of truisms aren't holding up, because, hey, we have our meeting, but then we can't meet up at the event on Saturday and cover something that we thought of the night after. We don't have fighter practice to pull someone inside and, oh, hey, can you do this week so that's ready for next week? And we're kind of having to work on the fly. And I know the calendar team, they're knocking it out of the park, getting all of our events and classes scheduled for it. And it's Brave New World stuff, and I'm really looking forward to us putting on a really nice event for everybody. Give them something to distract from the general shittiness of having all of our fun stuff canceled and postponed.
Hey, that's my face. I think that is so incredible. I don't even know how. I'm so impressed at the way that you and your team and everybody's team has come together to make this happen. No, that's my Amber.
Sir Tiberius stepped up to help out as a virtual event steward. We kept Duchess Ailey and Master Oliver stayed on. They were the original physical Potrero event stewards, and they kind of just built a really good team out of the staff that was carrying over from the physical event and other people who have skills and resources that are useful in the digital format. And that's something that I've heard brought up as a big strength of the SCA, and like especially here in Califia, you always know someone who knows how to do something. And right now we're tapping into that pool of talent probably more than we have in a long time.
That's one of my favorite euphemisms, I get, not euphemisms, but like colloquialisms, is I don't know how to do that, but I know somebody who knows how to do that, and I will show you how, or like I will introduce you to that person who knows how to do that. And I think that it's more than just in Califia, but like in Caidan as a whole. Like we're a fairly densely populated kingdom. Like our kingdom, our baronies are like, we have lots of little groups of denseness, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And I think that there's enough intermingling that it is very much a Caidan thing, where it's I don't know how to do that, but I know someone who can. And I think that we are experiencing a very big boost in younger participants. Me and my partner, Lord Brienne, ran Volunteers for Great Western War for 2 years, and we did everything automated. We had everything done via tablet or on your phone or before the war or whatever. And we kept finding ways to make it easy and make it interactive. When we did that, we got a whole lot of pushback, because it was, what I was told is that it was ruining the atmosphere. And of course there's always things that happen. There's always flaws or complications with any new policy, but it's very intriguing now, 3 years later, to watch how the SEA is embracing technology.
Well, when you first went to digital volunteer signups, did you go to iVolunteer straight out of the gate?
So before I took over with Brandon, it was, you could do the iVolunteer signups beforehand, before war.
But not during.
But not during war. And during war, it was, the original protocol was to have it done via paper. And all additional signups were tracked in a booklet type thing. And that works. And
it's how Potrero currently does it still, because
right.
We just have abysmal signal up there.
Yeah, it's rough. That makes a lot of sense. And for other places like West Ontario, you don't get signal at. But also, so like wars like that, it's harder to do a system that is completely automated. But there's always something that makes it work, if that makes sense. And Brienne and I just found that the tablet and the technology made everything easier for us.
Well, it has the benefits of keeping all of those signups consistent across every user, and you don't get double signups. And I really like it.
I think that it worked. It worked for us, and now, because this is of course, there's not just one way to do something. So if it doesn't work for somebody else, then it doesn't work for somebody else. But it worked for us with literally a 95% success rate. 2 years running, we did not have less than 90% of our shifts filled. And that's not something a whole lot of volunteer stewards can say. It's really hard to get people who are at a war to relax or to reign or to work or to whatever it is that they do at whatever floats their boat. It's really hard to get people to want to work.
Well, you're fighting this is my vacation and I want to relax impulses. And like I've been there.
Me too.
I've had wars where I had just the shittiest week of work leading up to it, and I wanted to lay in a hammock and drink a beer.
And you know what? You're perfectly allowed. Everybody is allowed to float their own boats at wars. Whatever they do that makes them happy is what's best. But to see how we as a whole, or you guys as a whole, and the whole Potrero staff has come together to create this virtual environment for the populace is incredible. And I couldn't be more honored to know you and Sir Tiberius and Duchess Ailey and Master Oliver and all of the other people who are working on this project, because I know it has not been easy. There's no way. So thank you. And thank you to all of the rest of the people here who have worked on Virtual Potrero to bring this war to our homes, I guess. It's a hashtag SEA at home.
Exactly. I'd be greatly remiss if I didn't also shout out our social media staff for Virtual Potrero, because Samantha is knocking it out of the park.
It's incredible.
She got the group put up. She got an endless amount of really cool graphics put together. She's advertising all of the signups, and she's going to be working on advertising all of our events and classes that are going to be coming up. And she's just a rock star.
That's incredible. And I'm so happy that there are people who are willing to take their time to bring this kind of joy to people. And speaking as somebody who has been definitely suffering from quarantine depression, it's incredible. And there aren't a whole lot of words for me to say, but thank you. Get out of there.
Well, I hope we have a really great event for everybody.
I'm sure it's going to be amazing. I think we're having a fire pit here at our house that we're going to stream or some stuff. I'm not sure. My mom, who is the current sitting Baroness of Drybergen in Caidan, for those of you who do not know, Baroness Tina, is really very active in this whole virtual SEA thing. I think she Zooms with somebody in the kingdom or out of the kingdom every night. Every night. She works so hard. That's incredible.
It also helps just waylay the cabin fever of not being able to go anywhere, not having any certainty of what's going to be going on next week.
Yeah, that's the hardest part.
If you can have a couple hours of, sharing a drink over Zoom with a friend or someone who you didn't know as well before all this popped off, then, if it helps you get through your day a little better, it's all really good work, like you said.
Yeah. So that's going to sort of segue us into what this show is going to end up being as a generality. Overall, or my hope at least, is when these shows get into the flow, there's going to be a little bit of interaction, a little bit of intro, and then we're going to take questions, and we're going to ask questions. We're going to have people ask questions, and some of them will be generalized. Some of them will be repeated. Some of them will not have anything to do with the SEA. And we're going to start with you. I have been given secret special access to questions for Between Two Peers, which is my shout out of the day. Sir Danger Muppet and Mistress Sassy something, but it's Mistress Tulia and Sir Helga out of the West have a podcast video type thing that is exactly like this, where the two of them have guests and drink and ask questions and be silly and do our best to cover a multitude of very serious topics and very lighthearted topics. We started a little bit on a serious note with virtual Potrero and technology in the SEA.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go through my little secret cheater thing, if I can find it.
Resources aren't cheating.
It's my cheat sheet for funny things. So why don't you, while I'm looking for this thing, tell me about your experience in the SEA. How long have you been in, and just a general summation of your experience?
So my first event was Potrero 2011. So this would be 9 years. My fiance at the time is very good friends with this guy named Ross, who I was also very good friends with. And Ross asked us, hey, you guys want to go to this camping thing this weekend? We dress up like pirates, we drink, it's a really good time. We're like, oh yeah, sure. I was in grad school at the time, so yeah, I wanted something to do to relax for a weekend over the summer break, so count me in. And we pulled up to site, and I see this lady in like a full Elizabethan gown get out of a porta potty, and I knew I was where I needed to be because it was great. And so we spent the whole weekend absolutely trashed, as you know, war virgins want to be. I think Parmenio yelled at the sun because he was too drunk for it to be that light out. And we just had a fantastic time. And we met all these people amazing that we really vibed with. And so when the question came of, oh, do you want to go again next year? It's obvious. Obviously. And so that next year I had graduated from grad school and I was ready to fucking party. And so for the first few years, we're kind of fringy pirates. So we went to wars. But then Parmenio got into heavies fighting. And he started making armor, and we started going to fighter practices, and then we started going to day events, and I started making garb that was not bought at a run fair, and you know, because I wanted to fit in a little bit more, and we just got more and more involved, and we started serving on baronial court and garden here in Calafia. And if you are new, my biggest advice is, if you can get onto your baronial court and guard, do it. You will meet a ton of people. You'll go to a ton of events.
It's super fun. It looks intimidating, but I pinky super swear that it is mostly just standing around and being helpful.
Carrying things from a trailer.
Carrying from a trailer, setting things up, helping boost the
ambiance.
Thank you. And I have served on many courts in my life, and I love bringing newbies in. I love being like, oh, this is your like 5th event? Cool. Do you want to come hang out with me and the queen? Let's go do some stuff. Let's go follow her around and maybe hold the crown while she, you know, goes and does other queenly things.
It's definitely the fastest way to get like integrated. And,
absolutely.
And, you know, from there, the other guys in our household, Hammy, Alsander, and Tiberius, they started, you know, looking into becoming squires, and eventually Parmenio got squired, and then within a year, all three of them got knighted, and it was a gauntlet of sewing.
So much. It was like back to back to back to
Yeah.
back.
It was all three of them within 365 days.
That I remember.
Yeah.
That's oof.
And recently at the 2018 March Crown, I asked Mistress Elgetha if she would consider taking me on as a protege, and she said yes, and I protéged to her at Highland War that year, and I was all geared up to, start going into my next chapter of, being active in the SCA, and then this bullshit happened.
Of course, because why could anything work out? But you make the most of it, right?
Exactly.
You definitely aren't stopping working. You definitely aren't stopping doing things that are helpful and integrating, helping make the SCA as a whole, and Caidan and Calafia and Potrero more accessible to a wider range of people than we would have normally. And so I definitely, from my just, Rosie perspective, would say you have started your path. You have started your next chapter because you've done something nobody else has. And well, I mean, you and the team of virtual Potrero people are working on a project that has never happened in Caidan, at least. I don't know about the rest of the SCA, but you are all working on a brand new thing. And I, as someone who has worked in publicity, like for real life things, I know that it is not an easy task to set up. I know it is probably been super complicated to skirt around making sure things are safe for everybody and things are still fun, but we're not also limiting people in ways that they are aware of. Ugh. I feel you. And as somebody who very much loves volunteering and is always super active when they can be, I probably should have weights on my wrists, but whatever.
I have a puppy now.
I took 10 weeks of a break. That counts. Well, I didn't volunteer for stuff then.
Well, like you, for the first up until the beginning of May, I was focusing on work because I work in healthcare logistics. So it's been, okay, what supplies can't we get this week? And what are we going to do as a substitute? And how are we going to make sure all of our actual healthcare providers have what they need to do what they got to do? And so I was just head down focused in that. And I was kind of getting into a bad place. So the fact that the opportunity came up to help out with Virtual Potrero was a godsend. Because now I have something a little fun to look forward to and something to work on that's not literally life and death.
I think that everybody should do whatever they can. If you can't participate in the SCA, don't. If you can't be online, don't. Do what makes you happy. I'm a huge proponent of that. I think that it's very important right now to not expect too much of yourself, to not expect too much of others, and to be patient and kind in ways that we would forget about in everyday life in the before times.
Well, it goes back to that same thing of real life comes before the SCA. Mm-hmm. And right now we're living in the basement of Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
You just got to do what you got to do to get through to the next day.
And that's you get it. I think I was listening, I'm not sure what show I was listening to, but I was listening to a podcast with a Duke out of the East. And he was talking about how he would talk, he would pretty much, he hasn't done anything for crowns or for tournaments or for training in any way. He goes, you know what I do? I get up and make sure my kids have food and my wife has a house. That's it. That's what I got. I do some of these shows, and that's that. And Jesus fuck, do I feel that.
It's all about priorities right now.
Yeah. I am, for those of you who don't know me, I am not a shy human being. If I don't know you, I will figure out a way to know you. I am not shy or afraid to talk to you, no, in any capacity. And I'm always I'm like, when I'm at events, I flit. I talk to everybody. I interact with everybody. I do my whole thing. I'm never in one place. And so
I've gotten drive-by hugs from you on the back of a golf cart, so I can vouch.
That's correct. She has. The fact that I have done exactly nothing when it comes to interacting with my SEA family since quarantine has started was a little bit shocking to me. And last night, between two peers, I had a burst of giving shit. I don't know. Maybe it was something fueled by spite or by boredom or by visceral frustration at the fact that I'm still just sitting here. And here we are. And this is actually going to be airing on Sunday. We're recording this on Saturday because I wasn't sure how it was going to go with fence building and puppy sounds and whatever. So in recording time, all of this happened last night. And I posted a bunch of things on Facebook, and I talked to my pelican, and I talked to other pelicans, and I talked to Helga. I talked to you. I talked to Her Highness Sarah of the Mists. I talked to Mistress Mary about it because I was not sure how this was going to get received.
Well,
and
you had a pronounced anxiety about stepping on toes, and I think a lot of people told you that there's no toes to step on right now. Like, you are not overstepping your bounds to put out your experience and your opinions in a really weird time. When normally, if we had regular SCA activities, you'd be engaging in the SCA in the way that you normally do. And right now, how do we engage with the SCA? By actually engaging.
Yeah.
Like, because all the other shows, it's a lot of, and this is not a slight against them at all, because format is format, but a lot of them are very, like, talk show based. They're formatted like a talk show.
Yeah.
And I think a lot like how TV entertainment has gone, or video entertainment has gone from, there are networks controlling all what you see in the programming, to we have YouTube now and anyone can produce anything that they want. And right now, if we're going to engage in our hobby, then we have to do it.
Grab the bull by the horns and just go. I am somebody who really thrives under pressure. And I don't function super great without a tangible goal or an achievable goal, if that makes sense. And so quarantine has is, for me, as somebody who's a very out there, thrives on being too busy, kind of human, quarantine is my worst nightmare. I hate the fact that I am here and doing absolutely nothing. And I definitely understand that there are some people out there who are struggling, and I am one of the lucky. I'm very lucky to have a partner and a family who's super willing to help and keep me, and I keep me and my own family above water in this time. But this is my nightmare. And having to sit here with no end, I have no drive to do anything. Mm-hmm. I probably have 4 dresses that I cut out. Like, I have quarantine. I'll cut all these dresses out to sew, and I'll have all these new clothes by the end. I have sewed exactly 0 of them.
At Crown, the Crown that just passed, Tiberius asked me if I'd make him a hood for his pelican elevation, and I bought the wool for it and all of the silks to do seam treatments on it, and they came like a week after quarantine started. And a couple weeks in, I lay out the fabric and I'm gonna cut it. And I just stood there staring at it for an hour. And it's just, it's the Viking hood. They're not difficult. I've made a million of them.
Yep.
I just could not get the energy to do it.
Nope.
And so I folded it back up and it's waiting. And luckily, we're at an indefinite amount of time before he actually has his elevation, so I got time.
Yep. Come here, little man. Do you not like that sound? Come here. No? Okay, whatever. So I think that I had to find a happy medium. Because all of those, I got very excited to make all of these new clothes. And then I realized that I was going to be in quarantine for an unknown amount of time. And I'm like, I could just do it later. I have all the time in the world. And now that's my excuse for everything. I'll just do it later. It's fine. I don't have anywhere to go. Nothing's happening. I don't know.
There's no event that you're like, okay, I want to have this done by that event.
By this event, exactly. And I had that same problem with I was going to enter Crescent Artisan this year, which for those of you who do not live in Caidan or do not play in Caidan, Crescent Artisan is basically like an art war. We have big arts competition every other year called Pentathlon. And in the in-between years, we have a Crescent Artisan where people can display works in progress or improvements on tasks or whatever, or skills, or so be it. Hold on, my puppy is wanting to get on my lap because there's loud things happening. Here you go. There you go. Okay, you're fine. You're fine. And I forgot what I was talking about.
Crescent Artisan.
Right, Crescent Artisan. And I had this project, and I did a whole bunch of research for a full Viking outfit. And I did it based off of Mistress Maeve Douglas's research. And I took from there and I extrapolated, and I even found out that they don't really do straps out of linen. They would do their straps out of like hemp or rope or whatever. And it's been sitting on my dresser since March. It's beautiful blue wool. It's gonna look amazing. Perfectly tailored to me. It's the first time I ever I've done sewing with measurements and whatever, but I've never tailored something before. And so Viscountess Larissa helped me keep it, put the pattern together, and God, it was a mission. And it was super cool and super excited. I was super excited. I'm like, I'm doing something different in the SEA. I'm not working. I'm not running everything. I only have one officer position instead of 3. I'm not anybody's chief lady in waiting. I'm going to do art. And now I have no time crunch, so I don't care.
Because the energy's not there.
No, it's just like, bleh.
I mean, so you know the John Mulaney bit where he's like, to me, canceling plans is like heroin. I'm one of those people. I like being at home, and sometimes it's a lot of effort to get up and go out. And goddamn, do I hate pub crawls, and people love them around here. And right now, everything is canceled. And at first, it was like, oh, there's no obligation to do anything. It's like heroin. But now I'm getting to the point where it's like, okay, I'm getting antsy. I still don't have the energy to sew anything, don't get me wrong.
Oh, me neither. No. That's why I said I had to find a happy medium.
Yeah.
So this is a solid mix between real world and SCA world. Mm-hmm. I am talking to you, my friend, who lives like 150 miles away from me.
Yeah.
And we are talking real life, real time, face to face, in our garb. It's not even close to like an event, but it's, something. I think.
Well, for one thing,
right?
At an event, you would have been like off at the other end of the event like 20 minutes ago. So
you are not wrong. I do have a hard time staying in one place at events. So here, since I said that I was going to look at my cheat sheet and find you questions, and then we got distracted, I am going to ask you questions. Now, again, as I had said earlier, these are all questions that were sent in to Mistress Tulia or to Sir Helga for Between Two Peers, and I got them sent to me last night because I asked very nicely. And so I'm really sorry if I don't pronounce your names right, but I will do my best. I'm not a herald. Sorry. All right. So first question, and I am going to point out real quick that you are wearing a purple Viking at the anniversary of you finishing it.
6 years ago.
6 years ago.
New garb, real bad.
My first question is from Emily Scold, and it is, what is your favorite piece of art, clothing, scroll, shield that you have made, and why?
Ooh. So my favorite piece of art that I've made is, to bring up a picture of it because it's at its forever home. So my very good friend Saren McDunn, Baroness Saren McDunn,
hi Saren,
paints gorgeous silk banners. And
true facts, I've seen them.
And she made Parmenio and I banners with, the Populus badge and the baronial Populus badge and our household and our personal heraldry. And then she made us Gompanons for Crown a couple years ago. I'm like, you know what? I like you. You're awesome. She's
amazing.
You need something because you keep like churning out this awesome art for us, and it's only fair that you also get some awesome art. And so I asked her, hey, give me one of your Viking aprons and I'll do some seam treatments on it. And then she gave me her apron, and I started working on it, and it the seams were creative, we'll put it that way. And I told her as much, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna make you one from scratch and then just do the whole thing up. And where is it? But I made her this gorgeous, is that it? Nope. This is like I said, it's forever home. So it's kind of, and apparently all my pictures aren't organized because I suck. I have every other piece of art that I've made in this gallery, but not that one. But it's, and it's covered in herringbone stitch, which I know isn't actually a thing, but it looks good and I'm good at it. So, but it's definitely that apron dress, which if I can actually get around to making myself a new one for myself, I will have learned a lot from that one.
All right, so now it's my turn. I don't think I do art. So like just to like head it off, I don't see myself as an artistic person. So when I say that I'm doing art things, it's me just using the words that other people use. I make things because it's practical. Sometimes I do it in a very complicated and annoying way, but I make things that are practical. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and say, of course, I'm never gonna be able to find a picture of me in it. I, from scratch, hand made a coat hardy, and this is it. Oh, there we go. That's it, and it's Caidan glue, and I am most proud of it because I hand did all of my all of the buttonholes. And so it went from this completely invisible seams to, let's see, where are my buttons? This was the beginning. This was the end.
And buttonholes
are a nightmare.
There's a reason buttons were only decorative for a large portion of human history.
But they are a nightmare. And I'm not a small human being. Like, I'm a short human being.
There's geometry involved.
I have curves, and lots of medieval related humans, or like medieval times women, were not as curvy as I am. So some of the patterns you have to get a little creative with. And actually, you helped me with this dress because the first day I wore it was at a crown tournament in Las Vegas, and I had a butt vagina. And for those of you who don't understand what a butt vagina is, when you have a curve in your back, you can't force sew a curve because then it gives you a weird little tail and it just doesn't lay right, and you get really mad for a really long time. And Mattea over there told me, oh, well, if you just sewed it up a little higher, it would just lay over your butt and that'd be fine. And it was by far the most simplest response to my issue that I could have ever imagined. And I was so mad that it worked. Because I'm just like, oh, it's cool. I was just crying over this in the hotel. It's fine. It's cool. Whatever. But goodness, that's definitely, I think, the piece of art that I am most proud of.
And it looks good. Also, you know how you can tell it's art? It's because you cried about it.
I did.
I went to art school. I can vouch.
Okay, cool. I am glad.
Art school. The halls are full of weeping teenagers.
Oh, absolutely. All right. So the next question is from Ducans von Wolfholtz. When you make a favor for Parmenio, what is it?
I've actually never, no, I made him a favor once a long time ago. And it was just like the belt favor type things, except for he wanted it on as an armband. And now we're we're married. He has a wedding ring on a chain around his neck. I'm like, hey, you're good. We know. We're connected. It's fine.
So, for me, for Brienne, he actually has colors from my device in his armor. So, all of his straps are purple or black, which are my two main colors.
Nice.
So, on his lamellar, he's got purple straps. On his elbow and arm thingies, van braces, he's got purple straps. So I've never made a favor for him because he chose to put it in his armor instead. Mm-hmm. So I didn't need to.
I just thought, I don't.
Tell me, what's funny?
So you gave him the strap.
Of course. I definitely made sure to keep it strapped on. 100%. Oh, we're hilarious. All right, fine. On that note of hilarity, from Her Grace or Helga, if your life was a movie or show, what would its theme song be?
Oh. Hold on. I have to look up the title.
She refuses
to.
My bad.
I remember the lyrics, but not the title.
So while you're looking up yours, I haven't really thought about this in a while, but it's going to have to probably be Walk of Shame by Meghan Trainor.
Oh.
And it became my theme song in a very weird part of my life where I was maybe 20. I just got out of a relationship with a 30-year-old man and had just met Brandon. So my life was all crazy. I was still in college. Things was nuts. And so my theme song was Walk of Shame because I, was a 20-year-old. My brother is in the background just like, yes, you were. Yeah, I get it.
All right. So the song I'm thinking of is I Hate Everyone by Get Set Go. Because my sister sent me this song on a burned CD many, many years ago. She's like, this is you. And I listened to it, and she was correct.
I'm for sure going to have to listen to it. I can't listen to it now, otherwise we're going to be demonetized.
Yeah.
But that's hilarious. I can't wait. I also hate everybody most of the time. Okay, so I have two more questions. The next one is from Ghislaine, and the question is, who was your very first seated royal that you can remember, and what is something that sticks out about that experience?
Ooh, that I can remember would be, I think, Patrick and Cara too.
Okay.
And John got his AOA from them. And, other than that, we were still really fringy and very, very light in our actual participation. But they're the first seated royals that I remember being aware of.
So that's awesome. I am going to go back into some days with mine. So for those of you who don't know, I am Rosie Black Rune. I've been doing the SEA for 25 years. I am that old because that's how long I've been in the SEA. And I have memories of whole lots of things, but I'm definitely gonna have to say Batista and Edric when they were reigning in 1990 something. And I was Batista's Queen's Champion. I was a tiny, tiny, tiny human. But I remember sitting at their feet on the same thrones that I now help set up on a regular basis. And I get flashes of memories of sitting on Batista's lap at feasts or during courts or whatever it was. I was just the tiniest blonde girl who didn't really give a fuck about rules or regulations. If I wanted to be on the Queen's lap, I was gonna be on the Queen's lap. I mean, those are things that only children can get away with, but it is still a thing that happened. Hard for me to say that that's my first peer, because when I was 3, I didn't understand that. I didn't know what that meant. And now I remember that. I remember being Batista's Queen's Champion. I remember participating in things with royals back then, but I'm gonna have to say that Her Majesty Tahira actually is probably my first peer as an adult. My answer is twofold, because now I'm back from my intermission. Just kidding. My dogs are having a meltdown, so we might need to wrap this up pretty quick.
Mm.
My answer is twofold, because I see the way that I have worked as an adult as a different entity from what happened with as a child. I can't compare the experiences because I'm no longer a tiny cute 3-year-old. I'm a grown-ass woman, and I gotta do grown-ass woman things. Can't just show up. I'm not gonna just walk up into court and sit on the Queen's lap anymore, because that would be inappropriate.
Generally.
People probably would not be fans of that. So we're not gonna do that. But Edric and Batista are definitely my first royals in my memory. And okay, let's see if we can get through this last question without my puppy having a whole ass meltdown. This is from Duke Thorfinn. What is your most precious SEA related possession, and why?
Gonna go get it.
Now we have an intermission. So another thing that I would like to have with these shows is I would like to have requests. So in the comments down below, go ahead and ask questions or request guests or any of those things that you would like to see on the show. I know that Their Excellencies of Drybergen have asked me to reach out for interviews, and I might do a couple of these that are a little bit more serious format. But other than that, it's going to be a whole lot of being silly and having fun and trying to bring a more pleasant experience, a brighter world, to help brighten up your world, I guess. I don't know. I'm bad at words sometimes. And we're back.
So, cheater answer, I've got 2. Well, first off is this protege belt. And this is the first piece of weaving someone has ever done specifically for me. And this was made by my pelican, Elgatha. And I think the implication there is pretty obvious as to why. And then this piece of gorgeousness, as I mentioned, those silk banners earlier. And this is the silk banner that my good friend Baroness Sarin painted for me. And I love it. It's gorgeous. I felt like a SCA grown-up when we had our banners with our devices in our camp. And I feel like I don't get enough chances to fly it, and that makes me sad, but she's really good at getting smooth colors. It's amazing.
I feel you. So the very first time we fought in Crown, Brandon painted flags for both of us, and we have gotten to fly them exactly 3 other times. We fought in more than 3 crowns since then, but somebody keeps forgetting them at home when we're at crowns, so we just get to hold this list over. It's fine.
High winds are also not good on these things.
High winds are not good on those. Okay, so it's my turn to answer the question, what is my most treasured SA possession? So for me, it's a ceramic mug that has my device on it. And her Grace Sita gave it to me after her first reign. But I also have a cheater answer, because I also have my first woven piece of stuff for me. So I've commissioned woven trim before, but most of that was for Brandon or for garb for other people. And I paid for it. I did not pay for this.
Well,
I mean, I picked Laura. She also picked me, or I'm sorry, I picked Larissa. She also picked me. It was a group. It was a 2-way street.
It should be, but
as it should be. I agree.
I have opinions, but yeah.
So this is something that she wove for me, and it has little bits of orange in it. So for those of you, oh my God, I'm gonna forget her SE name because I'm the
Olfina?
worst. Thank you.
The orange. Yeah.
The orange is for Kitty, Duchess Colfina, and when Larissa told me that she made, everybody cry, because that's what happens when you talk about somebody like Kitty. And I knew Kitty when I was little, very little. And to now be an adult that gets to carry something of that was hers, or that at least a part of something that was hers, is more of an honor than I could even wish to begin to understand. But Larissa thinks that I deserved it, so that's something. But yeah, this and my cup are my prized possessions. Well, I think that's it. I think that we got through our questions. I think that we got through a really good interaction. I think that you are an incredible fucking human being, and I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you being my guinea pig, dealing with howling puppies and fence building and dads and brothers and puppies again.
Armenio was very polite, and I think he's reading in the other room.
Well, tell him hello for me, and thank you for being polite and wonderful, and I am very excited to go on this adventure, and I couldn't have asked for a better first guest.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Next week, next Sunday, I'm going to have Sir Helga on my show, because why the fuck not?
Get it. Just a reminder, everybody join us next week for Virtual Potrero. The website is wp.potrerowar.org, or also we can also find us on Facebook at the Virtual Potrero War 2020 Facebook group.
There are going to be links in the description below.
Excellent.
And again, shout out to Between Two Peers, who helped inspire this experience. Thank you guys. This has been Rosie Speaks.